houses, grid systems, everything. It encompasses everything because everything is energy and everything is motion. So when you look at the systems that we created, the same system that goes in the car goes into our charging stations. Those charging stations provide electricity to the grid, which provides energy to your home. And, so therefore, we're getting into a system where instead of having a very large power plant out in the middle of nowhere, we can have multiple systems scattered throughout so you have a more robust grid system. Yeah. One of the issues that we have right now is that with electric vehicles, the grid system, our current grid system can't handle electric vehicals. Yeah. And it's a situation that, it's set up so that it basically will power stuff that are, how can I put this? When you look at the current grid system, it's designed on a bell curve. We, as a engineer, as a creator of electricity, that so many people are going to come home from work and they're going to turn on the AC, they're going to turn on the TV, you're going to have a spike in how much power is required. So they can plan for that. But people, when we go to get our vehicles recharged or put gasoline in, there's no set parameter as to when that person's going to do that. Yeah. And when you're talking about, the ease and efficiency of trying to charge an electric vehicle, that's a tremendous amount of energy that has to be put in, and it's a massive spike. So if you got a couple people, a couple hundred people that are trying to charge their cars at one time, not so much of a problem. But now when you start talking about a couple thousand people trying to charge at the same time, a couple million people, you're going to start having rolling blackouts and things like that because our grid system is not designed to handle that. Right. It's not designed to handle the spikes. So that's how come our system doesn't use that type of we don't use an electromagnetic charge. So, with our system, the vehicle is actually able to recharge and continue to move forward. And, when you come in for service, then we change, make sure that everything is proper with the system and you go on about your business. Right. But so far as some of the other vehicles, it's good in theory, but horrible in practice simply because of the unpredictability of the grid. So, we take that issue out and we remove the systems because it's basically, when it comes down to electric vehicles, it was, when we first started this, chicken and the egg. Do you build a charging station network for a vehicle that people might not want, or do you build a vehicle with no place to charge it but at home, and people have range anxiety because we tend to think, okay, I got a car and 260 miles is plenty of range. I mean, where do you go that you're going to use over 200 miles? Right. And mentally, we want to have the ability to, okay, I don't want to get stuck somewhere. Right. So we have this mindset that, you may travel 50 miles in a day, just running all your errands. You may even stretch to 100 miles. You still got 160 miles worth of charge left that you can recharge and go on about your business. Right. But we still mentally have this thought process that, okay, in my gas-powered car, it takes me 5 minutes to recharge, fill up the tank, and I go wherever I want to go. It's a pain in the butt, but I know that I can refill my tank in 5 to 10 minutes. So we've gotten used to that process. You don't think about how much fuel you have until the gas light comes on. Right. So we have range anxiety that we have to deal with, and the systems that were designed that I designed are set up so that we don't have that issue. Oh. And because we no longer have those issues, you don't worry about range anxiety because, I've been across the United States and around the world, and, there are some neighborhoods that you just don't want to stop in. You don't want to have a situation.
That's right. Drive right through them.
Yeah, let's just say you driving a green car and you're in a brown neighborhood. Okay, well, you don't want to stop. You want to stop in the green car, because hey, you might not be gang affiliated, but somebody, you don't want to stop there because everybody else is wearing brown and you driving a green car. You don't want to go over there because you don't want to have no problems. You know what I mean? People are losing their minds out here. You don't want to go to a gas station late at night. So with our system, basically, you won't ever have to worry about going into a filling station if you don't want to. Right. And when you do go into a filling station, for our Mims Motors vehicle, there will be charging station attendants there. It'll be very well lit, and you'll feel safe when you get there because there's people who work there that care about you. And, you know, that's one of the things that we want to do. That's one of the things that the technology allows us to do is to provide, you know, jobs for people, which, you know, reduces crime, because when you're looking at folks actually having a livable wage, you know, and I say a livable wage, we complain sometimes because, you know, we don't make enough money in some of the jobs that we have. Some jobs are set up where, you know, they're a stepping stone to get you to the next job. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to be there for the rest of your days. But, you know, we're looking at our system as, okay, we're going to hire some kids out of high school and let them, you know, come to work as a charging station attendant, and they can grow from there to a station chief, and from the station chief to a regional chief. And once they get to that level, they can determine whether or not they want to go and come work for the company in a different capacity.
Oh.
So a person may start out as a you know, station attendant, you know, just recharging vehicles, and eventually be designing starships.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
know.
Yeah.
You know, that career path that they want to choose is going to be up to them. They may want to go into management. They may want to design electric cars. They may want to design boats and aircraft and things like that. You know, we're working with, you know, Metro Air out of Las Vegas, Nevada, and we've got some major things coming up with them. You know, we've got some projects that we're working on to build our first electric planes. You know, so there's some things that, it's not, we're not confined just to terrestrial bound vehicles. You know, we're making a lot of really cool stuff that's going to be coming out here in the near future.
Okay, I was going to ask you a question about any future projects, so you already answered that. So I would like to ask about the scratch and dent exterior on your vehicles. Now, which vehicles have the don't have the scratch and dent, and which ones that do?
Okay. Well, the E-line, the economy line, basically, those vehicles are more traditionally based. So just like when you go outside and look at a normal car out on the street, those vehicles are traditionally based, and they have the same similar structure. But the premium vehicles are designed out of composite materials, and they are basically when we design and paint the vehicle, the paint is actually sucked into to the material itself. So it's, you know, almost impossible to scratch. I mean, basically, you'd have to take a chainsaw to scratch the car. So which is, you know, really, really cool. You know, we've got, you know, it's basically bonded. The paint is bonded into the material of the vehicle. And those vehicles, you know, with the designs that, you know, again, I don't design everything, but we did some things with JVIS, and they're designing some things that basically, you know, those cars would be the safest vehicles ever made. And, you know, very, very grateful to them because of the way that, you know, the advances in the technologies. Our cars can't burn. You know, I mean, well, I won't say they can't burn. I guess you would be able to eventually burn it if you wanted to. But, you know, it takes some serious effort to do that. And there's no chance for electrical shock. The vehicles actually have the ability to render the pack inert so that the system can't catch fire during the crash. You know, the overheating, you know, some systems when you're dealing with a solid state battery, you know, once you have the safety structure is punctured, you can have a cascade runaway effect where the battery system can catch fire or electrify the vehicle itself. And, you know, there are things that people put in place in order to make sure that doesn't happen. But there are instances of certain electric vehicles that have caught fire. And lithium actually, once it does catch fire, it emits noxious fumes. So, you know, those are things that, and they're difficult to put out. You know, if you don't have, you know, there's some systems that, you know, that are available. They've caught fire, and they've used millions of gallons of water to try and put one of them out. And I'm not, you know, trying to crap on anybody's vehicle, you know, but just what's this out there. And I know some people, know what I'm talking about, and they know that it's an issue. That's not an issue that we have. I hope that company does get an opportunity to make some changes and things like that, simply because they're doing good things when it comes down to, the environment and trying to get us off of fossil fuels.
Yeah.
And when you look at the situations that are going on in the world, we've already passed peak oil. So, it doesn't matter what a person thinks about certain things. Again, I look at transportation. Are we using this as transportation, or is this recreation? If it's transportation, the only thing you're doing is, if you're driving a Toyota Corolla, okay, you're not racing anywhere. You're not enjoying the sound of the motor. You're not doing, there's no real enjoyment in that car. Sorry, Toyota, but there just isn't. If you're driving a Yaris or something, just to save on fuel, that's not something that should actually be utilizing fossil fuel.
No.
Save that for a 69 Dodge Charger. Save that for a Lamborghini. Save that for Bugatti Chiron. Something that when you're driving it, you're like, oh, yeah, this is what I want. I mean, because there's only certain vibrations that you get when it comes down to a gas-powered car. I'm a motorhead. I grew up on that stuff. So, yeah, that's going to have a special place in my heart. But when it comes down to something that's just, okay, I need to go from my house to the grocery store, or I need to go from my house to work. Most of the time you get in your car, you're not even thinking about the fact that you're driving a car. You're just thinking about, okay, I got to get to work.
Yeah.
So if there's no enjoyment in having that vehicle, why not just drive something that's electric?
Right.
You're just going from place to place. It doesn't matter. It's not like, hey, I love my car, I'm going to be seen in it. It's like I'm driving my car to go to work and come back home.
Yeah, exactly. I see that too. So as I want to ask you, how can anyone order a vehicle on your website? So give us brief details of your website and how to order one of your vehicles. And give us a list, a fleet of the vehicles that are available.
Okay, currently the E-Line is available. The E-Line E7 Plus Lithium is available right now at the 260-mile range. Vehicles on our website. You can go to our website. It's www.mims, M-I-M-S, Motors, MOTORS, and you'll be able to go in there and order any of the vehicles. You can put a down payment or pre-order the E2, which is our subcompact four-door vehicle. And you can also order the E7 Plus, which is the Wi-Fi enabled vehicle. As I said previously, the E7 Lithium, which is a limited time vehicle, and I have to go back to that car because the E7 Plus Lithium, that vehicle is eligible for what we would call a swap out.
Okay,
so
I've seen that.
So if you bought that vehicle right now, you could actually have that vehicle delivered to you. And once that vehicle is delivered and our E7 Plus, the Wi-Fi enabled vehicle is available, let's just say you bought a black one and you said, hey, you know what, they just came out with Rissy Red and I want the red one. You can actually reorder, and when that vehicle is available, we'll tell you, hey, we've gotten the EPA approval. You can order the new vehicle. You can actually change the color on the vehicle that you want, change the options and things like that you want. And when you change that and bring that car back in, we'll call you when it's ready. You go to the dealership and you hand them the keys. You give them $1. You sign the contract, and you go out with a brand new vehicle, no matter how many miles that other vehicle has on them.
$1.
And what we're going to do with this, with the vehicle that you just turned in, we're going to give an opportunity. We're going to refurbish that vehicle and change it over to the Wi-Fi system. And then we'll have an opportunity for someone less fortunate than you, such as teachers or firefighters or police officers or something like that. Those individuals will be able to get a refurbished vehicle for cheaper, and they'll be able to go ahead and get that vehicle and be able to, again, help clean up the environment. And you'll be helping teachers and firefighters and those that have been of service to us so that they can actually, get around and not pollute as well. So, and it also makes, with our technology in our vehicles, it's in balance, so it'll actually make you feel better when you're driving it. So, it's a win-win situation.